Hello, this is a quick guide on how to edit videos using DaVinci Resolve for Kilroy sketches. So to start off, you're going to want to go into the Kilroy SharePoint, go to your folder, and then download the files for the sketch that you want and put them into a file on your desktop. I'm not going to do that here because I already have it done and I don't want to waste an hour watching this download. But safe to say I already have a folder that already has all the videos I used in the Honey Farms shopping trip sketch here, plus other things that I threw into the source folder to help me throw in some extra effects and edits. Just other random pictures that come up halfway through the sketch and like sound effects and stuff like that. Oh yeah, we should probably put a warning over that. But anyways, once you have that, you're going to want to open up DaVinci Resolve. Do you have any insightful commentary,
You
Alexander?
could remind them that it's free to download,
It's free
and
to
I really
download.
hope you cut that down some.
What, the opening?
Yeah,
That was like 3 seconds. You've just been ruined by TikTok. You've no attention span. Gen Z.
I hope that part stays in the final cut.
I'm
You're
not
just
cutting any of
insulting
this.
everyone.
Anyways, yeah, so you're going to want to go into DaVinci Resolve, go to the Media tab to try and get your clips in. So for me, they're on my desktop folder, so if I go here, I should find Honey Farms Shopping Trip. As you can see, this is the correct folder. Let's go back up to here. Right-click on it, and then click Add Folder into Media Pool, and everything in that folder will be added into the Media Pool. If you add new things to the folder, they won't be added in unless you do this step again. So do that. Next up is the Cutting tab. You can ignore this. This is dumb and no one uses it. The Edit tab is where you do everything. So up here you can see we can toggle various things to help us get started, like video effects, we don't need quite yet, and most importantly the Media Pool, which has everything that we just imported. So I'm going to start by just getting, I'm not going to do all my clips right now, but I'll just do the first couple, just throw them in the timeline. And let's make sure to save this project. And also make sure to save frequently and often, because Resolve crashes a lot sometimes, even when you're just doing nothing, and then you lose all your progress. So make sure to like just hit Control. I just hit Control S after every single change I make, like a psychopath, but you get used to it. So we're just going to call this Kilroy test edit thing. And now that I have some audio and video in here straight from the camera, we want to begin by getting everything ready, and that means getting the good audio in here. But first, we have to figure out which audio we need.
Quick explanation. The blue parts on top are the video, or visual portion of the clips, and the green parts at the bottom are the audio. You can edit these together or independently, as Owen is about to show.
Well, I mean, I kind of assume they could tell that from the fact that it says video and audio, Alexander. Unlike you, I assume they can read. But anyways,
They could be overwhelmed by the amount of stuff on the screen right now.
well, there's going to be a lot more overwhelming stuff, 'cause I've got a lot of flashbangs and gunshot sounds in this folder. But anyways, we're going to start by just listening to the clip.
I am recording.
Okay. Mono 644.
So someone just said Mono 644, so I'm going to go look for that in my folder. Here it is. And now, don't do what Trevor does and just listen to it and try and line it up by moving it around. There's this thing that does it for you, and that is called, what is it called? Auto-align clips. If you select both the video and audio clip and your good audio clip, if you just hold shift, it'll do it. Control also works, lets you select things like separately. If you do shift, it'll select everything between the two things you click. So I just use control most of the time. Select all of these things, right click, go to auto align clips based on waveform, and that should align them based on the audio. There we go. Now if I were to mute this track, so we can only hear the audio with this and this, we should get something. Yep, that is our much cleaner audio. If we switch it around and come back to the original audio, you will hear it is bad.
Action.
Yep. So we don't really care about this audio anymore now that we have it. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click, deselect link clips, which is what's holding these two things together so they always move. Let me just Control Z so it goes back to when they were synced. Deselect link clips, and we're going to delete this. Now, in order to make sure that these two things move around in tandem, we're going to select them both, right click, and hit link clips. And then for my own sanity, I also drag this up to the top bar because visually that just makes them appear like they're connected in my brain. But now they move around and they are synced up, so you can see from these claps. It is very quiet though. Alexander, how do we fix that?
Make it louder. You can either drag on the little bar in the green clip, or you can go up to the audio tab in the upper right-hand corner after selecting the clip and play with the volume.
I'll never do the audio tab. What green bar do you drag?
Oh, so there's a little faint white line above the
Oh.
line. Don't.
That.
Yeah.
I hate accidentally clicking on that all the time though. That's just sad. Because he drags around. It's not. It's a. Don't listen to Alexander. That's a bad way to do it. Go to the little editing tab up here. We think it's a bit bigger too. This is where you're gonna do all of your not clipping things, but adjusting things within an audio and or video clip. So here you can see if you want, we can zoom in or zoom out. Let's reset that. We can crop the screen. You can do weird things, and we can change the audio. So you can adjust the volume. I'm going to bump it up by about, let's say 6 decibels, which work on a exponential scale, or is it logarithmic? I guess it depends which way you're going. But anyways, decibels are weird. You got to play around with them a lot. Generally, for your audio, you want dialogue on the mixer to be hitting about -10. You don't really want anything going above like -7 to -5, and you want background music and sound to be between about -30 to -20. Those are just kind of general guidelines, though. You can play around with it on your own. And also keep in mind that the final show director will probably toy around with the total audio of your sketch. It's just you have individual control over what that ratio of volume is between your background things and your dialogue if you have multiple sound clips. So let's listen to that again.
Mono 644.
That's still pretty quiet, but I think it's kind of fine. Although you can see our audio does peak there a lot. I think it's a lot better with a different clip. That one has no dialogue. Let's see about this one.
Alright, I am recording.
Mono 645.
6-4.
Alright, let's just do that whole process again. Auto-align clips based on waveform. D-link, delete, link, boom, and let's turn that up. I can just see from looking at it, it's very quiet. We turn it by 10 decibels. There we go. So you can see we've got some audio here.
Right at this,
Still very.
Okay.
as long as the microphone's
Let's push that up to about 20. I have it cut off right at this poster board.
Oh, okay.
as long as the
That's
microphone's
pretty good. But you can see that we're getting a little high. Let's just say that in our minds, for the most part, this volume is good and what we want, but it occasionally hits a little too high at the very highest parts.
microphone's
Like there. Thankfully, there are a couple ways to deal with this. Number one is to go to the Effects tab. If you go into our audio effects, we have a lot of cool things. Like, for example, the limiter, which puts a cap on your volume. So if you ever go above a certain amount, it will just not do that, which is very nice. So if I put a ceiling on this of, let's just say -8, our audio cannot go above -8. If you play this again,
It's poster board.
Oh, okay.
As long as the microphone's
it makes the audio a bit strange at the parts where it peaks, but overall it means you're not going to blast out anybody's eardrums, which is very nice. The other way to go about it is keyframes. Alexander, you love keyframes, don't you?
Keyframes are great. What if you wanted to have, say, different volume levels in different parts of the clip? Well, that's where the
Oh.
keyframe comes in.
But Alexander, couldn't I just cut up my clip into a million different bits and then give each one a different volume for every word?
Yes, you could do that. But if you use keyframes, you can seamlessly transition between several audio levels automatically.
Wow. Anyways, well, not something before we move away from the audio effects tab. If you want to adjust your effects you added to something, you can see them here in effects on this little timeline inspector thingy thing. So let's just, for example, turn off that limiter they just added. And right before we show keyframes, I do want to show the most important audio effect, and that is noise reduction. This audio is pretty clean, but I think it's best shown in camera audio, which is dirty and nasty and full of air conditioning and refrigerator sounds. So if you listen to this again,
I am recording.
the audio is bad because you can hear a constant humming. This happens in a lot of audio that's filmed either outside or inside, because no matter where you go, you can't escape constant droning sounds across WPI. So luckily, we have the noise reduction tool, which you just slap on, and then if you have dialogue, I highly recommend clicking auto speech mode, because what that will do is this will limit the background noise in your sketch. If there is dialogue, it will also try and axe as much of it as possible, and it will sound like a garbled, jumbled mess, unless you click auto speech mode, in which case it will try its best to detect what noises are someone is talking and what noises are just someone's AC they left running on in the background, and we'll try and edit out the AC while leaving in the dialogue. So if we play it again with that in, hopefully it's much better, but it can be a bit tricky.
All right.
So as you can hear there, there was much less background noise. It did also attack a bit of the footstep sounds, which is not totally ideal. But overall, I think it's an improvement, and that's just something you have to look out for when using this tool. That's a terrifying image of Nick. And anyways, back from our commercial break to keyframes. So keyframes are a cool little tool that let you mark various points in either video or audio, and then give different effects from your inspector corresponding to those points. It sounds complicated, but it's not that bad. So let's say, for example, I see this part in my audio is really loud. I want it more down here. I'm going to go ahead and say this audio bit is fine. I want this all to be about 20 decibels bonus here. But once I get to here, I think I want to be a bit quieter. So I'm going to hit this button, which will add a keyframe to where my playhead is in my audio tab. You can also, in case you didn't know, you can zoom in and out by holding Alt and scroll wheel, or Control and scroll wheel to go back and forth. And now I'm going to I'm actually going to get rid of the edit index. I've never seen this before, and I don't know where it came from. But anyways, we add a keyframe. Whoa! Let's go forward a few more seconds and say, I'm going to put a keyframe here. And from here on out, I want the audio to be only 10 decibels. Only boosted by about 10 decibels. As you can see, everything past that audio track is now 10 decibels. Everything over here is 20, and between the two keyframes, it will slowly adjust over time between the two. They're pretty close together, so it will be pretty much instant for most people listening, but if you just give it a quick listen, I have it cut off right at this, like,
Poster board.
Oh, okay.
So as long as the microphone's like...
So you can see now, the audio feels a lot more consistent, except for the background noise, because that's static. And that's another reason that the noise reduction is good, but that's something for you to consider with your own audio mixing. Now let's say after this, we want to go back up again. We do the same thing. We do another keyframe here at 10, do another one right afterwards, and put it back to 20. And now we've got just a little lowered section of audio. If we want it to be instant, we can try getting the keyframes to be like right next to each other, and it's practically instant.
At this point, it's worth noting you can move the playhead by one frame at a time using the arrow keys, because you have to perfectly line up with a previous keyframe in order to edit it.
Yes, if you can also use these little buttons to be like, oh, I want to go and edit, let's say this keyframe. I can use this button to go back through the various keyframes I've done, boop, 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 and now we're back on that one. You can see if I want to get rid of a keyframe, once this is orange, it means that we're on like a frame of the video or audio that has a keyframe. Click it again, and it's gone. And doing that, as you can see, has showed us something else cool you can do with keyframes, which is long gradients of audio and things. And so now, over the course of this conversation, let's get rid of this keyframe too. And this one, we'll just put one over here that just says like -10. You can see that now our audio will do things over time. This is how you make gradient effects in Resolve.
right at this like poster board.
Oh, okay.
So as long as the
Now we
microphone's
slowly
like,
fade out, like the end of a Looney Tunes.
I think this is the line basically.
It's like we're getting further away. Anyways, that's how keyframes work. Don't forget to save. Not that I'm ever going to visit this again. Let's say I do that. I've got some good audio in a couple places. I cut it down to the bits that I want. I'm like, there's 3 takes in this. I like the one that was between here and here. These 2 weren't very good. Bye-bye. Everything before that, who cares? Bye-bye. I've got my good clip. Oh, Jesus, that is quiet. You might be thinking, now what? The answer is do that again, over and over again, for every scene, for every bit of video that you have. This takes a long time. It's not that fun, and that's just how it goes. Anything to add? Alexander?
Editing takes a long time,
Yep,
but if you do it right, you end up with a good result, so it's fulfilling or something.
sure. After you do all that, and you've got a bunch of stuff, you know, you've got all your clips put together. You said I got my good things, and I've got my sketch. Let's just close that together. You can actually make everything the playhead move back by doing this. Although I see there were some gaps here and there because I didn't actually properly edit this. We'll just say that that's good. Save it again. We've got our sketch. Whoa, it's great. We definitely edited the whole thing, and it's good and funny now. How do you do other things? We're gonna get the file to get people to look at it. Yep, that's what it is.
You don't even talk about like layering or anything.
Fine. Do you want to talk about layering?
It's really simple. You can just make multiple video and multiple audio layers to have multiple things going on at once. So what Owen's doing now is adding another video track so we can layer something else on top of the video that already exists. And this could be useful if you have like graphics you want to pull up or text to put on screen or something like that. You just put it on another layer and put it on top. But one thing to be mindful of is that you have to have transparency to see anything on the layers below, otherwise it will just completely cover it up. Which could be what you want, but it isn't always what you want. So you might have to go through and either key out something with like a green screen or make sure that you're using PNGs with a transparent background.
Doesn't this look like fun?
So I am recording.
Are you trying to kill someone with that audio?
Yeah.
Back up a little bit.
You can see I did a little gradient zoom on the video with keyframes.
I wish this counter was higher, because I can't get both like the counter in shot and also your face unless I go very far back. Yeah.
And the audio gets
Just saying.
full. Okay. It's great. We did a great job. Is that everything?
More or less. Google it if you want to find out more stuff. This is a very
there's
powerful tool.
Millions of hours of YouTube tutorials online of how to do things in DaVinci Resolve. Literally anything you want to do. It's out there and it's free. This is the basics of how to make a sketch. Once you've got what you want, you go to Deliver. Generally, you don't want to do entire timeline because usually what you've done at some point is you've gotten 1 or 2 clips at the end that are bloopers that you didn't put as part of your sketch. So we're going to go to Deliver. We are going to go to In and Out of Range. Let's zoom out by a lot here. And you can see we have a little bar here that lets us pick what parts of our timeline we want to actually make into the video file that we're going to export in a second. So let's just say everything let's just say from the very beginning to the very end is going to be in our timeline. We're going to exclude our bloopers for now. You can do this another time. We're going to name it. This is your chance. Dave. This is Dave, and he's going to my desktop, where he will die once I delete him after this. We're just going to leave it the default things. These are fine. And we're going to click Add to Render Queue. And now we're going to go and hit Render All. And you can see it's going to take a little bit of time to do the rendering. 5 minutes. Okay, Jesus. Well, anyways, it goes to your wherever you told it to in the desktop, and it just appears there with the name that you had in the place you told it to. It works. You can just trust me on that. And to give you a good idea of what a finished sketch will look like after putting in lots of extra effort and stuff, we can go look at the resolve timeline for the actual Honey Farm shopping trip, which took me, if I recall correctly, I think it took me about 4 or 5 hours to edit in total.
Only 4 or 5 hours?
I have a lot of editing experience. So this is what my timeline looks like. Let's go to edit. Yeah, I have 5 video layers and 5 audio layers. You can see I've got a lot of keyframes. Alexander, do your sketches also look like this, or am I just a madman?
Some of mine are worse. Yours
Alright.
somehow looks more organized.
Well, I don't think that's true, but
A lot of sketches won't have quite this much editing, but
yeah, a lot of them probably won't. This was a very intense sketch editing-wise. But let's just take a watch and a listen. And Alexander, if you see something that I didn't explain, like how text works, maybe we can pause and figure out how it's done.
are you really just gonna watch through the whole sketch? That
Yup.
seems